Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome you all here. Also, council members, city officials, I appreciate that everybody's here. It's a good crowd. I'd like to welcome you to the January 11th City Council meeting. We only have one item on our agenda this evening, so it's not a long meeting, but we'll get to that here in just a little bit when we get to legislation. Mr. Fawson, would you please continue with the roll call of members, please?
Carty. Here. Clay.
Here.
Corcoran.
Here.
Florima.
Here.
Gray.
Here.
Neal.
Here.
Patrick.
Here.
Kroll.
Here.
Tatman.
Here.
If everybody would, please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Minutes of the previous meeting have been distributed for review. I take it that you've all reviewed them. Do we have a motion to accept the minutes? We do by Mr. Florina, second by Mrs. Gray. Roll call on the motion to accept the minutes.
Carty.
Yes.
Clay.
Yes.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Florima.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Neal.
Yes.
Patrick.
Yes.
Kroll.
Yes.
Tatman.
Yes.
Very good. At this time, we have reports from our committees. We would like to start out. Mrs. Patrick?
Up for second reading tonight is amending chapters 11105, 1173, and 1141 of our city ordinances pertaining to the definition of homeless shelter and zoning of that. That was just discussed at this meeting, so I won't reiterate it. This will go all three reads. And if anybody has any questions, give me a call. I'm on with it. I would like to follow up. A couple meetings ago, we had received copies of a letter from the EPA about some violations. We had 4 of them. 3 were for chlorine, and 1 was for E. coli last year. And because of that, Utilities Director Johnson met with the new EPA representative, and the city now takes, we're required to take at least 3 samples throughout the day to make sure we're in compliance with the effluent. We do 6 samples a day. And, you know, you can be perfect for the morning and then out of whack in the afternoon, so there's a lot of that going back and forth. So what they decided, so we can try and not have any violations at all, that the decision was made to add more chlorine. That solves the E. coli problem. Then you have to add more sodium thiosulfate for the excess chlorine. Because we were getting violated, not enough chlorine, then we had too much chlorine. So that's what they're going to try, and hopefully that'll work, but it will cost close to $5,000 in additional chemicals, but they should be absorbed in the current utilities budget. But if anybody wants a copy of this, I can email it to you.
Now that cost, is that annual, quarterly?
Annual.
Annual? Okay, so we're looking at $5,000 annual. Okay, thank you.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Patrick. Anybody else? Mr. Tatman?
Thank you, President Arnold. First off, I'd like to welcome our new auditor, Mr. American. Also, the engineering committee has 2 assignments at this time. Assignment 1601, request for a change of speed limit on Western Avenue. This is, if you go out Western Avenue towards Dakotas, we have a 40-mile-an-hour zone, and then it goes into a 55-mile-an-hour zone, and then goes into a 45-mile-an-hour zone at Slate Mills. So the state is recommending that we go 45 mile an hour instead of 55 and then drop down. Also, 16003, the traffic signals at Bridge Street, Guernsey Crossing, across from Sam's Club. Apparently there's no left-hand turn signals coming out of Guernsey Crossing or coming out of Sam's Club. This was a issue at the holidays, because I was out there and saw that the people coming out of the Guernsey Crossing couldn't go left because of the traffic coming out of Sam's. So I've got both these items at the engineer's office, and they're supposed to give me a quote on the signage and the lights. And as soon as I get that information, I'll have a committee meeting. Also, number 2, Sunday I spent my afternoon checking the 4th Ward. We're considering a land bank And I was seeing if any of the houses that I had on the list would qualify for a land bank. But unfortunately, I did not find any, but I did find 24 empty houses, either abandoned or nobody living in them, and about that many questionable houses that need have condition issues, and we need to have them looked at. But other than that, we have several places in 4th Ward and also in Patrick's Ward that people need some help and assistance. Also, I noticed that we have an assignment that we have to share some money on maintenance costs for the law complex. And I'm a little concerned on this one because I also noticed in the paper that they are planning to do some upgrades. And I want to stay on top of this because we've got so many things in the city that we want to accomplish that we got to make sure that we've got enough funds to do what we need to do for the people. I mean, the streets are going to be fixed, and hopefully the safety services are going to be up to snuff. So, but we got to make sure we stay on top of this because we've had a problem in the past with the county sending us bills for things they've done to the complex, and we haven't been able to keep up with this for some reason. Right now, we're in better graces with the county, and hope to keep this going on. Also, I would like to consider, and I noticed that somebody passed this plan for the council chambers in this building. I would like to see somebody go forward with and trying to get some kind of grant, get something accomplished in this building, because we need to address issues in a lot of areas, downstairs especially. And hopefully, you know, if we can get some kind of aid or grant somewhere and maybe rehab this building, and I would like to see something like this in the future, because I think this is the answer to the city office buildings, which I'm not really sure. I'm sure that Mayor Feeney is glad to be out of the basement, but that's just our new auditor down in the basement. This plan doesn't have a basement.
Every room's got a window.
Oh, every room's got a window. That's a plus too.
Except for the old jail window.
Oh, yeah. Well, there might be a parking issue. Thanks.
That's
Also, I did bring up with President Arnold, the fact that our illustrious Mr. Paulson needs a computer, possibly a printer, and of all the times he saved us over and over again to keep us out of trouble, and I mean a lot of times to keep us out of trouble, I think the least we could do is get him a computer and possibly a printer. And that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Catman. Yes, we have an assignment in the works on that. Mr. Kroll.
Thank you, President Arnold. The Finance Committee would like to I'd like to make a motion that we reconsider the previously passed budget and amend by substitution.
Okay, would you like to make that motion now?
Make that motion.
We have a motion. Do I have a second? Mrs. Patrick. Roll call on the motion to reconsider the previous legislation from the last meeting.
And that's ordinance number 131-15.
That's correct.
Cartee,
Yes.
Clay,
Yes.
Corcoran,
Yes.
Florina,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Neal,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Kroll,
Yes.
Patton.
Yes.
Still yours.
Okay.
So that will
You need to move to reconsider, or move to amend it
by substitution.
to substitute the new version for the original passed version.
I'd like to make a motion that we amend the previously passed ordinance with this amended ordinance. And I will refer to the mayor and the auditor for any details on changes. If you have any questions on that, it's before you right now.
So we have a motion for the amendment to it. Mrs. Patrick seconds. Roll call on the motion to amend the previous ordinance to this new ordinance.
Cartee,
Yes.
Clay,
Yes.
Corcoran,
Yes.
Florina,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Neal,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Kroll,
Yes.
Patman.
Yes.
So we're on time for legislation.
We can vote on it right now. Move the passage.
Move to pass this new ordinance.
I will move to pass the ordinance.
Okay. We have a second by Mr. Cartee. And shall we have a roll call on the new ordinance, please?
Carty,
Yes.
Clay,
Yes.
Corcoran,
Yes.
Florina,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Neal,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Kroll,
Yes.
Hack.
Yes.
And the new ordinance 131-15 is now passed and into effect.
Thank you. Also, I want to point out that the Safety Service Committee, or the Finance Committee, and Safety Service so on, Finance Committee will be having a meeting tomorrow at 7 p.m. and that also will be followed by a Technology Committee and a Special Committee. On the agenda will be the law complex funding, the computer for the clerk, and the change in the council's meeting time. So those three items will be discussed tomorrow at 7 here in council chambers. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Any other committee meetings at this time? Mr. Carter?
Community Affairs doesn't have any items on the agenda tonight, but we do have a request to form an angel program. That would be a police-assisted recovery program for heroin addicts seeking help. And I will get together with Councilman Clay and my committee and figure out a time that's mutually good for everybody and then announce that committee via email. We also have a special committee, as Mr. Tapman alluded to form a land bank and work with the county. And I had the opportunity to go around the 4th and 6th wards today and sort of a random sample of the tax delinquent properties in those wards. And I am under the impression that there are actually a few properties that would qualify for the land bank assistance. And this is basically to rehabilitate and improve properties that have been abandoned or are tax delinquent. So we'll be moving forward with that. There'll be a meeting in about 2 weeks. We're still working on the details of that meeting, but once those are hashed out, I'll do it as well. And that concludes my report, President Arnold.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Anybody else with committee reports? If not, we'll move on to reports of officials. Mr. Feeney, report.
Thank you, President Arnold. First, Happy New Year, everyone. I think it's nice to see a lot of community participation tonight. Mr. Campos, I think you had a lot to do for years tonight, so thank you for that. I wish it's probably for a happier topic, but I think that the community involvement that we see here tonight is a very, very important thing. Comment briefly on the dry stuff. The ordinance that needs to be reviewed and updated the budget, I touched on, or Kathy Fleckner actually in her email touched on the reasons for the change. Very briefly, between Parks and Recreation, there's a reduction in the Parks and Recreation salaries and increase in the parks, reduction in recreation salaries and increase in park salaries. The overall appropriation is the same. It's just split between those two departments. The new version of the budget has transfers, interfund transfers broken out, so they're more easily identifiable. The sewer transfer into the general fund was an old amount. It was updated to reflect the current Maximus cost allocation study. The FOJ fund appropriation was unintentionally left out. It's been added back in. Likewise, the unclaimed funds appropriation for the court to be able to refund some money. So I would ask for your favorable vote on that topic tonight, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions if anybody has questions on any of those changes. Today I had the pleasure of attending, Councilman Carty and I had the pleasure of attending a promotional ceremony in the fire department. We have a new lieutenant and captain, so my congratulations to them. I also have the pleasure of announcing at this time that both of the fire department outstations will be reopening on January 18th. That's a week from today. Open houses will follow, and I think it's a good opportunity for the community to stop in and meet some of the people who serve and protect you, and I will report back with more information there. On the other side of safety, the police department will complete the hiring of 3 new police officers this month. Dispatch hirings will follow. I believe we're still on pace to combine police and fire dispatch by April, which was a commitment. Both fire hirings and the police hirings were commitments as a part of that safety levy. So look forward to those changes coming up here soon. I'd also like to announce that the city is hosting Martin Luther King Jr. Day events a week from today as well. That's the 18th of January. We will meet at 10 a.m. in front of the Ross County Courthouse. There will be a march to the high school. There will be several speakers. There will be a poster contest with an I Have the Dream theme. And if you want more information, you can check out our Facebook page or call the city for more information. I want to comment just briefly on how I look at my next few months. I've put together a team to help me with the transition, to sort of help me stay focused and guide me through these next few months. I'm going to be focusing on three things. Obviously for the next 4 years I'll be focusing on these things, but I hope to make a dramatic, noticeable improvement on a lot of things. But the things that I want the public to be aware of is, first and foremost for me, and what I plan to deliver, help deliver to the city through the administration, is good customer service. That means that we are responsive to you, and we're always looking at better ways to serve the community. Your feedback is really important in that process. So if you have interactions, good or bad, please let us know what they're like and how we can do better. The other thing that I'm working on already and will continue to work on, and I think you can see even with council here, is collaboration. I had breakfast on Friday with the superintendent of the city schools, John Saxon. At Rotary today, I talked to folks from Medina. There's a breakfast tomorrow morning. We have a lot of issues in this community that we need to address together. The city is not going to be able to take any one of them on by ourselves, but I think we have a lot of people, as is evident by tonight, who really care about this community. So I think through collaboration, we'll get there. And of course, the last thing I want to touch on, the town right now, we have a lot of optimism, we have a lot of enthusiasm, excitement downtown, but I think we're all acutely aware of a pretty serious crime and probably even more serious drug epidemic, particularly heroin. I've had a lot of conversations with the chief of police, medical personnel, social service personnel. Again, a community approach is going to be absolutely necessary if we have any chance against this thing. The scariest thing is that, I think you've heard me talk before, I always look at other cities and see who's done other stuff well and try to copy them. The fight against heroin is, there's no tried and true method of fixing this thing. And so we are going to open ourselves to a lot of exploration, looking at a lot of data, trying a lot of new things. Some will fail, but I think some will be successful. And as long as we're working together and moving forward, I think we can really make some progress. So that was a little long-winded, but I just wanted to give folks here tonight an idea of where I hope to go, and I hope you'll all join me. Thank you, President.
Thank you very much, Nate. Our auditor, Mr. Barrington, do you have anything you'd like to report?
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, first I'd like to say hello, and I look forward to working again with the city. As many of you know, I was the law director for 2 terms, and after that I was reelected, or I was reappointed as an assistant by 2 other law directors. So I've had a lot of experience with the city and all the departments. I look forward to working with Mayor Feeney. He's inspirational, and I'm a Rotarian, so I got to see his speech today. He did a really good job. He's getting everybody excited in this town, and that's kind of a change. I believe I'm suited for the auditor's position. I'm an attorney like the last 2 law directors, or auditors. Plus I was trained as an economist. I came back from the Air Force, came back to the country and re-entered Ohio State University, and I majored in economics, and have followed up with lot of reading and studies in economics, so I'm somewhat of an economist. At least I try to think along those lines. And running an auditor's office is really managing the financial situation of the city, overseeing some really professional, good people down there who have been trained for quite a while. Luke did a great job getting them working together, Tom Spetnagle also, and many of them were actually hired by Bill Morris, so we've got some really good continuity down there. Unfortunately, they get more and more tasks to perform all the time, and they have fewer people than are allocated. We are going to be installing new software in 6 months or thereabouts, and everybody, including me, we're all going to have to learn a whole lot of stuff real fast. And we're going to be going online and trying to take tutorials and stay ahead of the game because everything has to keep moving while you're learning. So it's going to be a challenge, but I welcome the challenge. Now, if we could move upstairs and get a window, it might help. It might help around. I've already had a lot of actual support and encouragement from former auditor Spetnagle and, of course, Luke. We spent a good deal of Saturday working together. They're trying to convince me that I can do this, and I think they're right. But it's going to take a lot of understanding and learning. And I noticed an article by my friend Alan Davis back there in the paper the other day. We're working on it, Alan, and I really appreciated a great contribution Alan and his wife, Dr. Jennifer Allen, gave the city when they helped set up the Hope Clinic. It's a faith-based clinic for people without insurance and without money, and they did a wonderful job with that. And I'll look forward to your input, and I'll get with you as soon as I can. With those remarks, I'll turn it over to the lovely law director, my former boss, Sherry.
Hi. Sherry, pronounce your last name.
Rutherford.
Okay, I've heard.
If you're in Frankfurt, you would pronounce it Rutherford.
I've always known it as Rutherford, so the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I'd like to welcome Mr. Barrington back to the fold. That's the annual report. He and I worked in this building together, and I have no doubt that he will do a spectacular job for the city. What's been passed out to you is the annual report to the law director's office. We're required to give that to the first council meeting of every year, so here you go. I won't bore you in long detail on that, but I will point out that we closed 2,651 criminal and traffic cases in 2015. We held 121 ALS hearings, those are your automatic license suspension hearings. 59 people entered our criminal diversion program. 72 people entered the traffic diversion program. Last year we gave 68 written legal opinions to law enforcement, 56 legal opinions to the administration, plus there was a lot of phone opinions given, like on the fly, because I have police officers and people like that will call me up at all hours. They call my assistants. Some new things that we were dealing with last year is that we got brought into the fold on the Bureau of Workmen's Comp cases, and we do have a clearinghouse for that, but we're working on trying to work on some of those cases with our appointed counsel. We deal with bankruptcy cases that are filed against the city. There were 13 bankruptcy cases filed in 2015. Last year we prepared 133 ordinances and 16 resolutions. We have worked with the income tax department in working on garnishments and filing charges against people that did not file their income or pay their taxes. Last year we were fortunate enough to work with the Heroin Partnership Program, and the Law Director's Office is continuing that association. Last month we worked with a 2-day mapping assignment, if you will, the working together. There are like 40-some agencies that work together, so when you talk about working collaboratively to try to deal with the heroin problem, the heroin partnership is quite impressive on that route. We also worked with the prosecutor's office on the amnesty program, and we had a press conference on the details of that program, wherein we're asking people that, you know, heroin's not worth dying for. And so anybody that is witnessing an overdose or whatever, we'll give them amnesty on whatever possession charges they have if they just call it in, so that people will get help quicker. We're also continuing working with the municipal court on getting a drug court set up, and I foresee that coming in the very near future. And everyone has a copy of the annual report. If you have any questions for me, I'm more than happy to answer them. If not, our door is always open, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Just a few things that I've got to say. Council needs to, this is a carryover from my predecessor. Council needs to appoint another person. One person's been appointed and another person needs to be appointed to the Municipal Income Tax Board of Review. Now, I'm under the understanding this is not a board that meets on a regular basis. In fact, I was told, and as far as I know, it's factual, that the last time they met was 6 years ago. So, but I do need, council does need to appoint somebody to that board. I have a few ideas, but I would like the council people here to forward me some ideas if they have it. They do not have to be formal in any kind of tax matters. Business people, anybody that has maybe some business interest, I would say probably would suffice. They should not have a conflicting interest though by being some sort of a regular, doing regular business with the city. But if anybody's got anybody that they might think of for that position, throw me some names, I'll make some phone calls and we'll see what we come up with. We also need to work with appointments to the Design Review Board, and there's some other boards that are going to need appointments. Mayor Feeney, did you get any further with the DRB? Or?
I was able to get a hold of Tammy Leonardo,
Okay.
and it is my recommendation that we reappoint Tammy Leonardo.
Okay.
Your position, Council President Arnold's position is up. I've suggested that until I find a replacement for Mr. Arnold, that we appoint him in the interim. We don't believe that there's any conflict between President of Council and Design Review Board, but we also always like to avoid any appearance of impropriety. So I would recommend your appointment in the interim, and then I've got one more follow-up call. So the information that we've seen says that it needs council's approval. I don't know if that's implicit or passive or how that works.
Okay.
That's the progress I've
Do you
made.
want to wait till you get your third appointment and make all of
That
that
sounds fine.
next meeting?
Sure.
Yeah, I've been on there for a few years now, and I haven't seen anything that's a conflict with what we do in here concerning preservation in the downtown. So I talked with Mayor Feeney earlier, and I'm fine with staying in there until we possibly might get a replacement for me if need be, or somebody would want that. So. Also, I am the one that passed out kind of the conceptual drawing for this building here. I drew that up actually about 4 years ago. I think I pretty well got every office that is across the street pigeonholed into that drawing there. Some advantages would be everybody would be out of the basement. It was nice. I think pretty much everybody would have a room. Rooms may be smaller than what's across the street, but then again, that's nothing there other than just for some fun looking and maybe getting some thoughts for the future and long-term planning. So anyway, enjoy the drawing and that's what it's all about. Okay. What happened to the sign-in sheet? Somebody still have it back there?
Here.
I At this time, we have audience participation. We do have some rules, not necessarily rules, but some guidelines to go by. And that is that as you come up, please announce who you are. Everybody's put their addresses here, so publicly you don't have to give your address out, but we do require your address. Each speaker has 5 minutes to make a presentation, and 15 minutes per subject. If you're all talking on the same subject, I'm just going to make the recommendation that you make whatever you got to say brief, so that other people have more time to talk, okay? If you do get into a long-winded speech and you get down to where you're using up your 5 minutes, when you get down to the last minute, put a finger up until you got 1 minute left, and that way you can get together and summarize whatever it is that you're saying. And if you didn't sign up on the sign-in sheet, you still want to talk when we're all done, just raise your hand, you can get up and give your name and address, and you can talk. First person I have on the sheet here is Gavin Campos.
Sure,
Is that, did I say that right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Alright, like you said, my name is Gavin Campos. Basically, what I did, I brought the community.
Your address.
868 Orange
I
Street.
have it on here, so they don't have to.
So I brought the community to tell our local government that we're ready to help. We're done with the heroin. We're done with the pills. My brother died. How many people know somebody died?
My daughter.
I mean, you guys know people that died. So this isn't an issue that just popped up. It's not going to just go away. Like you said, Luke, you need community to step up. I know addicts that are in here, and people who've never even seen the drug. I started a straightforward page on Facebook to help victims of pill addiction. My brother died on Christmas Eve 4 years ago. I've helped numerous people, but I don't think it's enough. And if we can do this and get the community to start stepping up, and get you to accept the fact that we want to help and that we're not going to go away, then we'd appreciate it. Everything that I've seen for the last 4 years is horrible. You got people's kids in here who died, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles. There's no discrimination to this addiction, to this issue. And it's statewide, it's nationwide, it's everywhere. But a lot of places are helping. And I know I want to help. I know they want to help. So I would like to form something to where we could have community gatherings with local officials, not just in here so we're not taking over your meeting, but to where we can all come together and find ways to fix this. Law Director, I appreciate all the stuff that you guys are doing, but you need help.
Yeah, we do. Yes, we
And
do.
Luke, you're jumping into this, and the plate that this community's gonna throw at you at this issue, it ain't going nowhere. And I personally feel that one man can change the world. You gotta have people to back you up. Well, this is a small amount of people in this community that are willing to help. There were 8,000 people invited to this event. There was almost 1,000 interested / attending. I have over 3,500 members on my straightforward page, and the number grows daily. So basically what I wanted to do is bring these people here to tell all of you that we're concerned. We're concerned citizens that care and are willing to step up, write down license plate numbers, make phone calls, do whatever we can to help you help us and help my kids and your children and their children, their children's children, and the future of our city. I can't do it anymore. Like, I'm to the point to where a vigilante service isn't a bad idea. It's wrong. But it's not a bad idea. I have personally taken down a few people who are addicts that stole from my neighbors. chasing down on a bike that had flat tires, on the phone with the police, caught him, put him in jail, did his time. And I'm willing to take those crazy steps, if you might, to help everybody, not just us, everybody. So my main focus is to get all of us together and fix this. If it's stepping up more harsher penalties, people overdose and bring them back with Narcan.
Yes.
But what's going to happen after you bring them back?
Well, again,
Going right back
do it
to the
again.
street, they're not going to jail, and they're going to go get high again. So I would like to personally step my efforts up to become closer to all of you and fix this. I don't need another minute.
That's all right. This is the venue to bring it up. Next person that I have is Robin Moss to speak.
I'm a little nervous, so I'm going to read what I wrote down. I don't talk as good as Gavin talks. I think we need to have stiffer sentences for these drug dealers, and instead of them getting a slap on the wrist and spending a few days in jail, I think we should have some mandatory time for them, so maybe they'll think twice before selling to people. The funding for the rehab, Mr. Curtis spoke something of the funding for the rehab. I had a close family member that was on heroin bad. We couldn't get her in no rehab. She didn't have any insurance at all. These dealers that's coming to Chillicothe are coming from all over. Cincinnati, Detroit, Dayton. And I think maybe if we could, and I'm just thinking this, if we could get rehab for these people to get them off drugs and help them to get off drugs, maybe they won't come to our town. I work at Walmart. I work at Walmart and I do the money grant, and I deal with thousands of dollars. And a lot of people that come in and send money and receive money are drug dealers. They send 3,000 at a time. Well, really $2,999.99 because 3,000 we put in the book, so they know the limits. But the funding for the people that want to get help and can't get it because they have no insurance. I mean, that's so sad to me. And I'm short. Thank you.
The next person I have on the list is Tricia Fleming.
Maybe if we could separate my time, because actually I'm a professional. I'm a licensed clinical dependency counselor and a licensed professional counselor. I treat addiction every day. Mr. Feeney, collaboration is what our field has been telling communities for a couple years now. It is a big problem. It is a social problem, it is an economic problem, it is a personal problem. It affects, it's not a one plan fits all. We need the help of law enforcement, we need the help of the courts, we need the help of the treatment centers, we need the help of our mental health boards to help us with this. We need state legislation, we need to crack down on these not only dealers, but these doctors who have cash clinics. We need to cut down on them. They're prescribing the Suboxone, sending it out, the people are selling it, which is fueling the streets, which creates a bigger issue. So the message is collaboration is wonderful. Mr. Feeney, from the support you see here, it looks like this city has what it takes to take care of this problem if you utilize the people that you have. Not only your professionals, but your community members. Get the information out. I've lived in this city for 8 years. I have not heard anything about human trafficking. I've not heard anything from the DAWN program except what I have learned as becoming a professional in this area. I've been a foster parent. I've taken care of the kids that these addicts have left behind in their destruction. I have taken care of, I am now treating this. It is not just a generational thing. We are seeing people in treatment that are coming in, their parents were addicts. They have no social skills, they have no coping skills, because they've never been taught, because their parents couldn't teach them because of their addiction. This is a long-standing problem that didn't develop overnight. We're not going to cure it overnight. But you have the motivation from Mr. Gavin that has just rallied. This is a small amount. I bet the number would have been a lot larger if it would have been stood on cold out. I know I was late because I was at work. I know I talked to a friend of mine, her daughter was sick, she said it's too cold for me to even come out. Nobody even kind of realized that we were going to be inside to do this. But you have community support. If you can get the collaboration of your social service, your law enforcement, to get the word out. What do the people need to do on their crime watch? We got neighborhood crime watches in Chillicothe. Do these people know what they need to take down? What do they need to watch for? How do they know they've got a drug house in their neighborhood? Do they have a house that's got a lot of traffic? Do they need to write down license plate numbers? What does the city need? What does that law enforcement officer need so that he can crack down on it? We've got dealers in Chillicothe from reading the paper that are mixing their heroin with fentanyl. Fentanyl combined with heroin is a central nervous antagonist. It slows, you got two pills going into the body that is slowing the heart rate and the breathing rate. It's causing death. I've not heard anything, seen anything out on our streets that has said anything about the Dawn program. Our health department has Narcan kits. I'm not seeing how people can get a hold of it. Nowhere have I seen this. But the health department has it. I know about it because I'm a treatment provider. We have people, we have treatment centers. We have Adam H. boards that will help funding for the lady who does not have insurance. If these people know where these resources are, they can find help. Southern Ohio Treatment Center in Jackson takes Medicaid. That you can send them down there, and it takes a while. The other thing is the state limits our doctor from writing scripts, from dosing daily, because we have more people than she can treat in a month to get the pill, to take the Suboxone, to get them stable, so the counselor can do their job and help them learn the coping skills, help them stay sober. We need more active NAAA members. We need our churches involved, spirituality. We need jobs. If we get these people clean, what hope do they have not going back? They can buy $100 worth of heroin and in less than 3 days turn it into $1,000 to $5,000 on the street. Where's the hope? Oh, okay, I'm going to get clean and sober, but what am I going to do with myself? I ain't got a job, so I'm going to sit here and ruminate on how I can do it. I'm not going to have the things that I need. I'm not going to be able to go buy that bicycle for my kid because I don't have a job. But I can take this heroin, I can turn it over. I can get that bicycle for my kids. And most of our dealers aren't users because it's a business. But it's hard to fight that as a treatment provider. To say, hey, come get clean. Let me get you clean so you can have a better life. So that's why this issue is not just small. It has to be approached from the large picture. It has to be a war. We think the war on terrorism is cost us money. I don't have the figures, but I'm sure if you added up the addiction war, the money that's been spent, the loss of lives that has happened, is innumerous and comparable. We're one small city, but if you help organize your community with everything that's available, Mr. Carty talked about an angel program. Mrs. Rutherford talked about a drug court. These are all positive things to help our community. So I implore you to stay on your collaboration, work very hard, but get the information to the people who you can utilize to help.
Amen.
Thank you very much. Next person I have is Robin Kello.
Hi, my name is Robin Kello, and I think they pretty well covered it all.
Okay.
And the only thing I got to say on the topic is instead of talking about it, we need to be about it.
Amen.
It's time to get busy for it. Thank you.
Next person I have on the list is Keith Richter.
Ooh. I talked to some of you out there in the cold this evening when I got there. Glad to see everybody of the same mind and wanting to do something. This is not the subject that I wrote down there, however. I was in times past, we had a television camera and microphones here and a local television, channel 26 or something like that, that broadcast what was going on there. I would like to see a return to those years because I don't know how many times it was that I talked to somebody on the street, in the parking lot, grocery store, whatever. Oh, saw you on television. Why was I on television? We were laboring with a handful of people to get rid of the red light cameras out of this city. And we got it done.
All right.
A handful of people, we had a core group. And it was because mainly what was absorbed and seen over the airwaves, people turned in what was going on here at council. So, we've got a big problem here. It's got to be fixed, and some of these people have got some ideas how to go about it. I guess closing on an up note, El Chapo Guzman is now looking at charges to bring me back into this country and put him in a federal prison where he cannot funnel his way out. And the other thing is, and this is probably not viable, but there needs to be a death penalty labeled without change, without appeal, without any BS. That somebody sells somebody some blue drop heroin and that person sticks it in a needle in their arm and they die. That person is being taken down to Lucasville, and if they're short because the stuff they've been using was from overseas, they can't get it anymore, mix up some of the blue drop heroin, stick it in a needle, and put it in the SOB's arm.
That's right.
All right. I guess I said my piece.
Thank you, Mr. Richter. I'm going to let the 15 minutes go over just a little bit more, but we have 2 more people to speak. The next person I have on the list is Alan Davis.
Yeah, I'm here to talk on a different topic. I think it's an important topic, though obviously the one that's been addressed is essential for our city. The topic I want to talk about is litter, and I don't expect the city to spend money on it. I don't expect you to pass legislation, but I'm hoping that I can get people to step forward and talk about the litter problem that we have in our town and encourage people. I moved here in 1991, immediately became impressed with this. I've lived in suburbs of major cities all my life, and when I came to Chillicothe, I fell in love with it. I used to be accused of being on the chamber and the visitor bureau payroll because of how I promoted it. But what I've seen the last few years is litter's become a real problem. So in 2013, my wife Jennifer asked me what would I like for my birthday, and I said I want a litter picker, and that's what I got. She used her shopping money for that and bought me some bags too, and that year people may have seen me walking Western Avenue and some of the other streets. Most of the time, if I got any kind of feedback, it was a honk or something like that. I started doing it again this year, and I set a goal, and I'm not bringing this up to pat me on the back or for any personal recognition, but just to encourage the thought process. Much like they say we can take our city back, we can take it back from litter too. So I'm an Excel spreadsheet person, so I said I'm going to set myself a goal. I'm going to collect 100 bags of litter this year. If I hadn't sloughed off, so that's what you have in front of you is my Excel spreadsheet summarized by what streets I did, how many times I did them, how many bags of litter I picked up, whether they were large items. And then on the other side, it's by what day of the week. It's just my summary. That's who I am. I have to be motivated through Excel spreadsheets and pivot tables. My goal this year is 200 bags. I've already been out once. We had a fairly nice day earlier before the weekend, and I hit it. And if I don't goof off, if you look at by month, you'll see there's no entries from June and hardly anything from July and August. So my goal is to make those full months too. Joe Sharp helped out last spring. He went to a lot of the clubs and promoted it. He got some people out too. It wouldn't take a lot. If I can do 100 or 200, if I can do that, if there were 5 other people, I mean, that's a lot of litter picked up. A matter of fact, it may get our dumping fees up. but our city's too good, too beautiful, and has too much potential for litter to be a major issue. So hopefully the newspaper will do some stuff on litter, and hopefully our new mayor will make that, just use the bully pulpit and say, hey, community, get out there and do it. And then maybe city council and your precinct or your wards, you could do the same thing and just promote it. I think there are a lot of people out there with a little bit of encouragement would go out and spend one day. Sometimes it's pleasant, and you don't have to have a formal picker. You just need a bag to put it in. So it's a small thing. It's a minor thing compared to what we're dealing with from the other topic. But I will mention this one last thing. 2013, I collected quite a bit of litter. I didn't do an Excel spreadsheet, so I have no idea how much. But I never saw a hypodermic needle. This spring, I picked up quite a few on Western Avenue. This fall, I was picking up on University Drive. So, that's just another reflection of the issue that we have. So, yep, thank you.
Mr. Davis. Have one more person on the sign-in sheet, which is Tiffany Howard.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Howard. I think everybody's kind of voiced their concern about the heroin epidemic we're having. I may have a solution a little bit, but we do need some help from the community. I am from Where Was I? We are a nonprofit 501c organization. I am an addict myself. We are teamed with Safe Haven that does counseling for us up front. The only thing is that we need help with funding. This has saved my life. I know that if it weren't for this program, I would be dead. I would be one of the ones that you mentioned. But I mean, if there's people out there, there's people out there women that need help, that want help, we're there. I know, people do want it, they have to want it. And it's hard for some of them to ask for help. I can leave information for anybody, I can write down some information for anybody, but if we need help from the community. If people want to come in and meet with us and talk with us, sit down with us, share some ideas with us, but we need funding. We have 2 homes now, we have an apartment and we have a house. But Cheryl Beverly back here and Rebecca, I mean, it's all coming out of their pocket. So, I mean, we want to continue this, but we need help, and I think it is a solution. One solution. I think it will help just a little bit.
How would somebody get in touch with your organization?
You can contact me, myself, if you want to write down my number, or Cheryl Beverly. Or Safe Haven right here. Yes, yeah. And our offices are right down there. Right.
Great, I'm an addict as well. It really is a good program. It's as well as did me to save my life. I've been an addict since I was 8 years old, and it's hard. But thanks to Cheryl and
Amy and everybody. It's saved my life. It's really quickly. We have another woman here with us that has overdosed 18 minutes. She was on, I don't know who was speaking about the Suboxone. I do think that is a horrible idea. Also, I mean, I was on Suboxone, I was on the methadone. I think that was one of the
In my opinion, I don't think they
But
should.
with the counseling and with the help that we provided, this woman was able to get off the Suboxone, and she's been clean for 30 plus days now.
Did I have her name? Did I have your name?
Brittany.
What?
I'm Brittany
Brittany Howard?
Sullivan.
Oh, okay.
I'm Tiffany Howard.
Keep up the good work. Definitely.
I'll write down some info. I'll just write down some information. I can leave it here or.
And the name of the place is what?
Where was that?
State Haven.
And St. David.
And
It's
it's
right here next door.
She gets it to you.
Oh, it's right there next to it?
Yeah, if you wanna give it to me, I'll put it in an email on to the council people.
Okay, thanks very much.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you, girl.
That's all I have on my list, although anybody else can still speak if you'd like to. Anybody else would like to speak? Sure, sir. And you do, would you give us your name and your address, please?
Yeah, my name's Michael Cade. My address is 380 Meadow Lane. I'm also the pastor at Landmark Christian Church on Bacon Street. I'm also the guy that is the father of Rebecca Cade, who was murdered here in our fair town. And after listening to everybody talking about all the different issues, my one main issue is this: the criminal just does not get enough time for punishment. That's the problem. If we could somehow get these criminals who get caught, who should be punished, and who should get a lot more time than they get, would be punished to where they wouldn't be out here on the streets redoing again the same things that they're already doing. And also, I understand as the addictions, if there were less addiction, there'd be less need for the sellers, because they wouldn't be able to sell their product. I understand that process. But to get the main core of this problem we're having with drugs is getting the person who's selling them out of the community. What's wrong with that?
Death penalty.
Yeah, I liked your cure for the problem. I'm gonna finish with this thought right here. Well, maybe two more thoughts, but this one thought right here. My daughter Rebecca was murdered by being beaten in the head by a man here in town, hung on a fence over here at AEP. It's got me so upset that as far as this town is concerned anymore, I don't care. The only thing keeps me here is the church that I am a pastor in. I love the church. I love the people there. And I'll stay there and help them. And we have been doing tremendous things about feeding the community. On Friday nights, we feed 40, 50 people every Friday night. Nobody here knows about that. I also would ask any council member, anybody here in this community who would like to come to our church and talk about these issues, any council person. I have asked 250, I counted, on the east end of Chillicothe, who knows who their council person is. They don't know. Come to our church, make some noise, tell some people about what's going on in our community. The girl that helped this guy kill my daughter, which is his sister, got 12 months.
That's true.
I am ticked. 12 months. And I don't care who's in this room. There's a police officer right there. He does his job. He brings them into the jail, they take him over to the courtroom, the judge says, here, you can have this slap on the wrist and you can go out there and do it again.
Exactly. That's our problem.
In 12 months, there's gonna be a lady, a woman, released from prison who's gonna come back to this town, guarantee you on the East End, there will be another opportunity for her to do something again. She should be at least 10 years in prison. At least. I had a pastor come to me, a local friend of mine, pastor in town. He said, Mike, if this guy gets off, he said, you won't have to worry about taking care of him. I'll take care of him. A local pastor. The mayor's sitting here. Our city has been hugely hit with drugs, but yet we allow these judges to make these decisions that are ridiculous. They're the reason for our problem. Is the judges who give these people a life sentence. They're the problem. Get the criminals out of here by putting them in prison for a long time. I've got a cousin who's passed away now, but back when we were kids, 18 years old, he stole a car. He stole a car. He got 20 years. Nowadays, he might get 6 months. Do you see what the problem is? Whenever this guy gets through this guy that killed my daughter, you'll probably be trying me next. And I'm a pastor.
I'm sorry, I know there was another concern about insurance. We will accept people without insurance, and Safe Haven Upfront will help you to get your Medicaid. We'll help you get insurance, but we will accept you without it, because I know that was also a concern. I'm sorry for interrupting, but thank you.
If there's nobody else, is there anybody else? Otherwise, we'll close audience participation.
I'm just gonna stand here and talk. I wasn't gonna say anything. My daughter, Charlotte Trigger, she's been missing for 2 years. And I just feel that if she could've got the help that these look like these ladies are offering. Because I called 2 months before she disappeared, I called, and it was 6 months before this place could get her in, because she asked me to call. And now she's gone. I don't know if she's dead or alive, but I think with this Narcan that they use, I think they need to use it one time, and then after that, they need to make them go to lockdown rehab. I mean, you know, that'd be cheaper on the city. There's got to be something done. That's all I have to say.
Anybody else have anything to say? Yes.
I don't have to come up there, do I?
We'd like your name and your address.
Your name and address, and ma'am, I didn't get yours, if that's okay.
I'm Cece Hughes.
Okay.
I'm 3694 East Fifth Avenue, Columbus, Ohio now. I was an addict for 22 years, and I run havoc to this town. I ripped and ran these streets. I neglected my kids. And today I've 20 months, and I've made a complete change. I carry a full-time job, got one of my 3 kids. I have no friends. I moved away from this town because it's the only way I could do it. I just want to say, offer this town something. Offer these people help. The Narcan, yeah, it's a good idea. I overdosed and laid in ICU. And my mom brought me home the next day, and I found my stash of pills. An addict's not going to stop until they want to stop. Until they find a reason to live. So just offer these people help somewhere. I know, okay, you guys say that you guys can't open it up, just like with the homeless shelter. This is your guys' community. The community alone can't do it. You guys have the rights to do it. Help these people. Before more lose their lives. More kids lose their lives. Because that 15-year-old daughter that I'll never have a bond with. Because I watched your dad get killed in 2001 on the highway, run from the police. Mike Boland on that Connecticut, you guys remembering? And I walked away from my daughter. And she'll never forgive me, regardless how much I've changed. Just offer these people help somewhere. Get it together, get the funding together to open something like these women are doing for this community. That's all I have to say.
Anybody else?
Take back Chillicothe.
Yes, take back Chillicothe.
If not, then we'll move on to old business. Do we have any old business to discuss, Mrs. Patrick?
I passed out the annual report from last year's renewal abatement board. And you can see in 2013, we only did 59 notices from the board. 2014 was 313, and last year was 325. And I attribute all this to Officer Pratt. He's very dedicated to this position, and he's doing a very good job. But if you look at the numbers, like Mr. Davis looked at, 166 notices is 65% of the trash, furniture, junk, garbage. So continuing the large item drop-off is highly recommended, but offering large item pickup with intense advertising is strongly supported by the community. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Mrs. Patrick. Any other old business anybody would like to bring up or discuss? Not seeing any. Let's move forward to petitions and correspondence received by the clerk. Anything?
President Arnold, I have nothing to report.
Does anybody have any new business they'd like to bring up this evening? Yes, Mr. Clay.
Thank you, President Arnold. Listening to the community speak tonight, I think this stresses the importance of the committee assignment request that I made regarding the Angel program. This is a community problem. It's a nationwide problem. And if you look at various communities across the country to see what they're doing to try to tackle this problem, everybody's trying something different. And as the mayor alluded to, we're going to have to try new things. Some are going to work, some are not going to work. Research the Angel program. I have plenty of information I can share with other council members. It's already showing positive results in the community of Gloucester. And if you work through Perry, you automatically have access to more than 50 treatment facilities that will take in patients regardless of their ability to pay, and will give them the medically assisted treatment that they need. Programs like Angel programs, they have 3 elements to them that I think are important. One is they remove the stigma of addiction to begin to reapply value to that addict. They are a valuable member of our community that we need to reach out to and help. And then they provide a compassionate response to that addict by allowing for a safe place to come report in as an addict and safely dispose of their drugs, their drug paraphernalia, without the fear of prosecution. And then finally, it allows them to get that treatment they need. Once they report in and they enroll in the program, they can get that medically assisted treatment they need. So I really think it's something that we really need to look into. We need to start looking at some different ways to approach this problem. And I'm more than happy to share information that I have available with all of the other council members. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clay. Any other new business at this time? If not, I'll briefly hand it out to committee assignments. We had several to start with. I'll just kind of real quick buzz through them. Request for legislation to change the speed limits on Western Avenue, Mr. Patman talked about. Legislation, actually an ordinance to bring forward purchase orders and other amounts appropriated in 2015 so that they can be forwarded and paid in the upcoming year. Engineering, a request for discussion recommendations to improve the traffic flow issues at Guernsey Crossing. We'll discuss that a little bit. Finance, a request for a motion to reconsider the vote, which we've done earlier. Community Affairs, consider developing and implementing the Angel program, which Mr. Clay brought up. I have assigned a special committee consisting of Mr. Carty, Mrs. Patrick, and Mr. Tatman. to discuss the work with the county in the formation and implementation of the land bank, and that was discussed earlier. I made another special committee assignment with Mr. Prohl chairing and Mrs. Patrick and Mr. Tapman to look at possibly changing the council times meeting from 7:30, possibly moving it up to 7 o'clock, no later than 7:05 after an invocation. Technology, request to get our clerk here, Mr. Paulson, a new computer for all the time that he's spent with his personal computer doing our work. And also an old assignment that I guess came out from Mayor Everson back before the end of the year to appropriate money to pay the city share of the maintenance and upkeep of the wall complex. So that was the new assignment since the first of the year. Meetings, I'm going to go over the list that I've got. I don't know how accurate these are. On Tuesday the 12th would be nuisance abatement.
No, we can cancel for this month.
Okay, that's why I gotta check these. On the 13th, Wednesday at 4:30 p.m., I'm showing City Planning Commission. I don't know if that's accurate. These are normal meeting dates. As far as I know at this point, the Design Review Board is meeting Thursday at 4:30 on the 21st. Tree Commission meet Tuesday the 19th at 5 p.m. And again, Lucille, I think you're in that one. I don't know whether they're meeting, I'm assuming. Okay. And Parks and Recreation meets Wednesday the 20th at 5 p.m. That's all I have. Let's move on to legislation. If you would, Mr. Paulson, please read our legislation for this evening.
Item 1 is second reading of an ordinance amending chapters 1105, 1173, and 1141 of the codified ordinances of the city of Chillicothe, Ohio. Second reading.
Okay, seeing no other legislation or anything to be brought forward unless you have something, do I have a motion for adjournment? I have a motion for adjournment with Mr. Clay, seconded by Mr. Prote. And roll call for motion to adjourn.
Prote?
Yes.
Clay?
Yes.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Lorena?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Neal?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Kroll?
Yes.
Tapman?
Yes.